I finished today up $991.50. And the reason that I'm happy about it isn't because of the profit. It's because, or the number. It's because I locked in some profit, left a runner, and went on about my day. This video is being recorded a little bit later than normal. It's 1:53, and I walked away at 11. So I did not trade yesterday, no video. I had too much stuff going on, and I wanted to take a break after Wednesday. So I came back today with a fresh account, signed up for it literally this morning at like 8 o'clock, and got into the markets this morning, willing to sit on my hands if I needed to, or take whatever trade showed up. So let's break into what I saw top down. Let's start with the daily. So in today's market, as we opened up, you can see pre-market high was right up here, the pre-market low was right down here, prior day low was down here, and prior day high was right here. So we were in this kind of range. We were inside of this big candle back here, but we were above the prior day low, and we were above the prior day high on this candle. So everything was looking pretty good. You can see I got this little resistance bar up here on the daily that we pushed into the other day before we sold down. That was my overall resistance. I didn't have anything too much, at least on the daily, until there. So we had a good ways to go before we get there. That's not what excites me though. Coming into today, I was very excited about what I saw in the 4 hour. Right here, if you if you caught Wednesday's video, you'll see I had this 4 hour target and this 4 hour target. And I said this one was the one that I saw us getting to easily. I had my target down here. I was just trying to force the trade too much. So had I left everything alone Wednesday, I would have actually gotten the profit on that account and been done, and I would have had to have traded yesterday, but my son's graduation, or not graduation, woo, I'm already skipping the whole school year. My son's open house was yesterday, so I wasn't able to trade anyways, at least not the opening range like I normally do. So this is what I was excited about. We hit on the first one the other day, and then yesterday we actually pulled down a little bit past it and then pulled back up. So this was what I was looking for, was a healthy pullback before we went higher, and that's what happened. So again, as you can see here, this black line here is the pre-market, starting of the pre-market for today. So we kind of chopped around a little bit, and then we picked up, and then we pushed way up here. This is the 10 o'clock candle. We went all the way up through here. So this was a very good looking candle when it started. You can see we did sell down, and now we're in this candle here. We got 3 minutes left actually on this candle. It's kind of like a spinning top, so it could go either direction. Further down, we've got the 1 hour here. You can see I had this shelf through here drawn, and this was from yesterday, and then we pushed up this morning, pulled down, put in the pre-market low, pushed up, and then put in the pre-market high, pushed up to the prior day high, and then slammed through it, put in the pre-market high on news. We had news released this morning at 8:30, so that's where this big candle came from here. And then we pulled back into this shelf. We did close, but we closed above the midline of it. We came further down, and then we came back up and went higher. So this line here is one that I had drawn that I really wanted to see this green candle break and close above, and it just ended up not happening. Further down on the 15, you can see this was the 9 o'clock candle that closed right here. This was our data pushed up. I put in this shelf here. We pierced it and then rejected back down to VWAP. Drew this shelf on this one as we went up and came back down, and then we kind of tweezer bottomed here. Nice engulfing candle. Another shelf right here that I was looking for us to come back into, which we did. We closed below it, pierced VWAP, and now we're chopping through here. All right, on the 5 minute. Boy, there's a lot on the 5 minute today. I was drawing boxes on top of boxes on top of boxes. We had the data released this morning. We had this big fair value gap right here. We pushed up, and then we pulled back down. I had a fair value gap here, but we completely blew through it. So I drew another one from this candle to this candle for us to push up into, and we did. So you can see we pushed up into it at the market open, putting in the high of the orb. Then we sold back down, pushed back up. We tried to pierce through it, which was actually the midline here, which is bearish for this to continue because we didn't close through it. So we turned around and went back down. Had another one here through this candle, big candle down through VWAP, or through orb into VWAP. And I did not take the short initially because we were trading into VWAP, but you can see I drew a bunch of other boxes as the trade was playing out. All right, here we go. So we've got the 1 minute showing the same thing. Orb low here, prior day high right here, which is a nice confluence. Pushed up, put in our midline, put in the orb high, sold back down, kind of chopped around, tried to pierce through, sold down, pushed up again, and then sold down. I did not take the short when we broke down through here. I didn't want to wait, I did not want to take the trade until we broke through VWAP if we were going to go short. So we did push, and I was fine taking the trade either way. So we pushed down into VWAP and we bounced right into this fair value gap here. That's why this little orb is here as well. Then we sold down, we pierced, we kind of fought it again, and then we broke through. So I put my order in here to get filled when we pulled back up. I decided to trade the 1-to-1 for two reasons. The first reason is that with the 1-to-1, my stop was up here, just a little bit above the midline. Actually, the actual 1-to-1 stop put my stop like right here. I moved it above the midline, and you can see I did get it stopped out over here. But with that, my 1-to-1 extended beyond the actual candles down here, so I had my line or my target moved further, because when I first entered the trade, my stop was in here, and then my target was down here. Well, I was like, well, if I have to give it enough room to move, so I moved my stop up, and when I moved my stop up, I moved my target down to keep it a 1-to-1. So that was a mistake on that one. Even though I moved my target or my stop, I shouldn't have moved the target. I was up like $300 when this hit down here, and it would have taken it out and been done. 2 contracts in and out, done. But I didn't. So because I had my target moved to equal a 1-to-1, I wound up not getting the profit here, and then we pulled back up into VWAP, kind of fought around, and then this was a strong candle here. Did not like to see that. I was really hoping that we would turn around and go back down. When we pushed up here, I did enter 2 more contracts just because it greatly reduced my risk and increased my reward. So this moved my average entry from down here, so these two together moved it up to like right here, and then hoping that price would go back down, I could close out, but it didn't. It ended up stopping me out, so I just waited. So then we pushed up. We did sell back down. I just barely got stopped out before we sold back down to where I could have potentially got out, but I actually flipped everything based on what I was seeing, and I decided to go long instead of short because of the buyer support, kind of a V-shaped type recovery. So I did break my entry rules on this based on a strict orb process, but today was one of those days where I was reading the market and I could see what the market was doing. Right here, I'm going to pull the 5-minute back in. You can see I got stopped out right here, price pushed down. I entered right here, and then had another entry at VWAP. So the reason I entered here is I wanted us to push down and enter into this shelf that I had here, or fair value gap, and bounce. So I entered a little bit ahead of that rather than right in the center, which would have been better to just put it in the center, but I was afraid of not getting in on the actual bounce on that. So I gave back a little bit. It wasn't the best entry possible. We pushed up and then we sold back down again, and pushed up and sold back down to VWAP. The reason I wanted to take the entry here, I remember now, is because this allowed my stop to be just under this shelf. And so I was okay with not getting a perfect entry because my stop was still under this shelf here. So I entered there, entered a double entry down here. So, and I did double my contract size because I did lose the trade, but this was a total of 4 contracts up here. So entering this trade with 4 contracts, if it went straight to profit, it would have got me a small profit for the day. But I had in the back of my pocket a second entry here at VWAP, and we did push down. I literally almost got into the tick on the VWAP here before we bounced higher. So then we bounced higher, we pulled back again, and then we went even higher. So at this point, I wanted to take some off, and I wanted to make sure I could lock in some profit. And at this point, right about in here, my wife hollered at me and said they couldn't find one of our puppies, and she needed help going to find him. He had escaped through the fence somehow. So I said, okay, hold on, let me look at this for just a second. And I looked at it and I said, where would I want to take out some of the money that would limit this risk, so I'm not in all 8 contracts in case it goes against me? Where could I take some off, which would be this entry here, because it would average out the 2 entries. It would take out this one, so my average entry would then technically would drop down to here because I'd be taking these 4 off first, because they follow FIFO, first in, first out, when it comes to options like that, or futures. So I was looking and I said, okay, I definitely don't want to target past this because what if we don't make it? We'd already bounced up here and pulled back. So I said, okay, I definitely want us to get through this, but I don't necessarily want us to make it up through here. So, and I can't remember exactly when the time was that I left to go find the puppy, but I just put my target here. My other target was up at the pre-market high, actually a little bit further than that. Sorry, yeah, pre-market high. My overall target was further than that. My overall target was up in the 4 hour, in a 4 hour gap that I had drawn out, and so I was actually well inside of the overall target for the day. So came back from getting the puppy. This one had been hit, and we were piercing into this one somewhere through all of. Yeah, I think it was like this green candle when I came back. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I saw this. We pulled back. I think that's when I actually drew this shelf in. It's hard to remember without a detailed play-by-play. I really need to figure out a way to set up to where I can record myself trading live, and then I can talk through all of this stuff and make my videos much easier. We did pull back, and then we went higher, and I think at that time I was my stop. Yeah, I think at that time my stop was still down here, and I moved it to break even. Yeah, I think it was right here. I moved to break even after we done this pullback or while we were up here. I was like, I don't want to take a loss. And what I had locked in, I was down like $100 for the morning still. So I was in the profit good right here, but I didn't want to give anything back. So moving it to break even was willing to leave $100 loss for the day, nothing major, but I wanted to see what would play out. And then I really liked this break through this shelf here. We pushed up, I put in this box here, and then we pushed up again, and I put in this box here. I put this circle here because there was no wick on this candle. So we pushed up, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, we were so close. So close. Let me show you this. This is pre-market highs right here. The high hit right here. We were literally like 10 points away from the pre-market high where my target was for the remaining 4 contracts. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, I need to go do something. It's like 11 o'clock, a little bit after 11. I've got other stuff I need to do. I need to figure out what I can do. Do I just take it all off here and call it quits? Do I try to let it hit it? What do I do? So I was thinking, and I drew this box out. We pushed down with this candle, and then we opened with this one and pushed back up. And I said, okay, I'm moving my stop, or not my stop, but I'm putting a sell order for 3 contracts. Pardon me, for 3 contracts right here in case this breaks down. I'll take 3. Oh, geez, these hiccups. I'll take 3 contracts off, and then I'll leave a runner, and then I can go do whatever I want. So I did that. Having the 1 contract left actually allowed me to push that contract up to the 4-hour fair value gap that I had targeted. So I did that, and then I moved my stop up to where it would lock in like $150 more, which would put me right at $1,000, because when I locked in these 3, it gave me like $850 in profit. So I moved my stop up. I think it was like right below this shelf right here. Yeah. Or no, it was below this shelf over here. I never did even move it up to this one. So I moved my stop up to the shelf, and I walked away. And then I came up here after we'd already hit VWAP and bounced back up, and I'd been stopped out down here. So I didn't get to manage the trade as much because I did have other things to do. But I'm completely happy with that. The market can do whatever it wants to the rest of the day. It's just chopping right now. This is major chop right through here. But we'll see what happens in power hour. It's 209 now. But the overall profit for today, 1,350, 991.50 in locked in profit. And as you can see, this is the other account that I funded, and then this is the new account that I created today. So we're off to a good start, and just balancing what I need to balance between taking the trades, either leaving it at a 1-to-1, having the higher target or lower target if we're going to the downside, and having a process of leaving a runner to get there but still locking in good profit is something that I'm really wanting to start taking a look at, because there's days that I leave, I close everything out and I leave, and then I'll check the market later in the day or the next day, and I'm like, dang it, it hit my target that I had the overall target for. And so that's kind of weighing on me over the time, because I'm leaving money on the table by taking everything off at the 1-to-1, where if I can, it's got to depend on the entry, on where I can leave my stop and be able to still lock in profit and then leave one runner to get more money down the road. I'm not going for 1,000 or 1,500 every day. It's just how it ended up today when I added in the extra contracts on the VWAP, because of the limited risk it was giving me, but the potential upside. So I could have managed it a little bit different within this. Instead of taking the 4 off here and then 3 more up here, I could have taken all of them off here, but I wouldn't have had near as much money on it. And I wanted to alleviate some of the risk, but I knew we could go up past this. Or another thing that could have happened, I could have put my 4 up here, because you can see we did pierce this and pull back. I could have put the 4 up here to risk it, but like I said, I didn't want, at the time, this was our higher high, or our lower high from back here. So I really didn't want to risk not even getting back up here. So that's why I put it here below the midline, because we were still below the midline in a long position. So I didn't want to risk too much that way. So every trade's a little bit different, and that's why a mechanical method doesn't work 100% of the time. You have to have some form of feeling for the market and discretionary trading. So, and that's the whole reason why I took this long down here today anyways, after getting stopped out, was because I could feel what the market was telling me we were going to go higher. So that's not always going to work out. There's going to be pros and cons to taking that feeling of the market, but today it did work out. It may not tomorrow. The risk on this at any time wasn't terrible. It was my max daily loss limit had we pulled down and stopped me out after this other 4 contracts were here. So that is something. So maybe I'm going to dial back the risk a little bit. If I was in my funded account, I definitely would have dialed back the risk and went with the orb, the whole orb range potentially, rather than the 1-to-1 on this. But while I'm trading the funded account, I'm going to be playing it safer, so to say, because I'm slow. That's a slow play. I'll get to the payouts, I'll take them and all that as they come. I'm not going to try to push it. But in the funded accounts, I don't mind pushing it a little bit. There is money involved, but while you're in an evaluation account, you're not making any money that you can withdraw from the market. You're just trying to get funded. So if you spend a month getting funded, like I did in this last case with that account, that, you're not doing anything over that month. You're just trying to get it funded. So I'm willing to take a little bit more risk on them in the case that it's an evaluation and everything shows up the way I would like it to show up, or I have a feeling I'm reading the market the right way. So hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, or please give a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Share it with somebody that you think would benefit from this information. And hopefully you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.